Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tesla stock today was down 0.72%. It did claw back from being down about 2% for a good chunk of the day today. Now, we do have some big events happening tomorrow. We're actually going to get some economic data. Now, I don't think this recent downturn, if we can call it that, in Tesla stock is going to last. And I'm going to tell you why in today's episode. We're also going to take a look at what Tom Lee just said is coming next for markets. He is expecting a strong end of the year rally. But how long does it continue? Does it last into 2026? What does Tom Lee have to say on this topic? Now, we're also going to get into some exciting news for Tesla. For the first time, cyber cabs are being tested at Giga Texas. This is a brand new development. We'll look at the option activity as well to close out the entirety of today. Ladies and gentlemen, do me a quick favor, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check out that link down below in the description of today's episode. If you want to come invest with us, come find these small cap AI stocks, these energy names, robotics, quantum. We're doing a little bit of everything over there, biopharma and gene editing. We want to get in early on quality companies, okay? Or take very calculated risks. And that is what we are doing as of now, excelling in this market. If you want to come join us, check that link out. It's not a recommendation. It's not a guarantee. You could lose money. You could lose all of your money if you're a jackass, okay? Don't be a jackass. We don't like jackasses, okay? But if you want to come join, that link is down below. With that said, let's get into today's episode. So first and foremost, in today's full day of option activity from institutions and hedge funds, you have 191 different trades that were flagged as unusual. These could be large orders. These could be, the options were bought like sweeps, like above the asking price. Someone just came in and bought up the whole line of options. You get the idea. They're unusual. They're not retail investor like trades. They are institutional trades. Well, you had 191 of those trades totaling $952 million with a positive order value of 31%. So, yeah, it was definitely not great, but I don't think it signals too much either. The markets have really started to get into this fear kind of mentality, this uncertainty kind of mentality. You could see today the S&P was down 1/3%. NASDAQ was down like 0.5%. It did recover quite a bit, still closing in the red, down 0.12%. And the Russell, the IWM, was down 0.64%. So if you had stocks today that were down, some of it can be attributed to a weird market. I'm not even going to say it's like a bad market. It's just a weird market. There's a lot of rotations. Some days quantum is hot. Some days gene editing is hot and biopharmas. Other days it's all about energy. Other days AI stocks are being thrown to the wayside. And today it did seem like a lot of AI stocks came under pressure, but some energy names did well. Gene editing in our portfolio did very well. I mean, quantum did very well. At least the quantum name that we have in our portfolio. You get the idea. Tesla, AI company, came under pressure. Other AI stocks that we own came under pressure. It's just this rotation that seems to be happening in markets. Okay? I don't think the recent downside in Tesla is going to last. And let me tell you why. We've basically had nothing but good news. Better than expected deliveries, new Model 3, Model Y that launched. That's not necessarily great news. It's not bad news, and it's not really good news. It's kind of like mediocre news. Now, we are getting some sightings today, we'll get into that in just a moment, that do look really good. That does sound good. Now, what we're really waiting for at this moment is, one, we have the shareholder meeting coming on November 6th. Tesla's going to invest in XAI. How much? How impactful is that going to be? Blah, blah, blah. Elon's compensation package is going to be getting approved. And between now and the end of the year, I'm expecting at least one more city to start robotaxi operations. It could be more than that. The more, the merrier. Tesla stock trades these days based on Robotaxi and Optimus. Mostly Robotaxi at this point. We haven't gotten any news on Robotaxi in a while. And once we get that news, the stock is gonna literally go parabolic. That's what we're waiting for at this moment. And again, I think between now and year end, we're going to get Robotaxi news. Now, in the news here in this afternoon, Time Magazine has named the Tesla Model S a top 25 invention of the past 25 years. They say, quote unquote, the car proved a game-changing advance for electric vehicles, expanding driving range and making them an exciting alternative to their gas-powered predecessors. Its success nudged competitors to make their own EVs more exciting, and Tesla capitalized on its head start, continuing to develop its tech and create new cars, including 2017's Model 3, which also made Time's list. Tesla just opened its first showroom and service center in Western Massachusetts today, in Springfield, Massachusetts. It is a 36,000 square foot facility. But this is the exciting news that we are seeing. Tesla was spotted for the first time testing the Cybercab at their Fremont factory in California. So this is Fremont. Okay, why are they testing the Cybercab? Well, when the Cybercab launches, there's not going to be anyone in the front seat. There's no pedals or anything, right? Nothing. Okay, this is going to be truly autonomous ride hailing. Okay. And Tesla's testing this. We haven't heard anything about the Robotaxi network in a while. It would not shock me if we're about to get some news soon for the Robotaxi network. This is, again, the first time it has been seen testing at their Fremont factory in California. This is in California, where the San Francisco Bay Area is already doing Robotaxi rides. Yeah, I don't know about you guys, but connecting the dots here, could we be getting closer to unsupervised Robotaxi rides? Probably. Now, economic data these days has been far and few between because the government is shut down and we're not getting BLS data. Okay, so we've been in a bit of a data blackout, and I think at this stage it is starting to create some uncertainty. Like, not getting some data, sure, it's positive for rate cuts. But at the same time, you just don't know if the economy is weakening, right? People are coming out with estimates and you're hearing blah, blah, blah. But we just don't know. We don't know if we're losing jobs right now, if we're adding a little bit of jobs or adding a lot of jobs. We don't know if inflation is plummeting or skyrocketing. We don't know how, the unemployment market is doing. We just don't know. While, yes, that does create a bias to cut rates because the risk is that things are deteriorating right now. And next thing you know, we get the data and the Fed's behind the curve. Okay. But having that uncertainty is never a good thing in markets. Whenever you hear uncertainty in markets, just know it's bad. Okay. Now, there's, again, some positive aspects to this, but the longer it goes on, the harder it becomes for Wall Street to model things, to, price things in. And right now, there's just been a lack of data. Well, that ends at least a little bit tomorrow. Now, it's not the best data. It's not data that I like. But you do get Michigan consumer sentiment data. This is from the University of Michigan. It will be coming out. There's only like 200 to 300 people that reply to this survey. So it's not like it's far from definitives on the economy, inflation, blah, blah, blah. But for the headline number, you are expecting it to weaken from 55.1 to 54.2. 5-year inflation expectations are expected to fall from 3.7% to 3.6%. Consumer expectations are expected to roughly hold steady around 51.7, unchanged from last month. Current conditions are expected to fall from 60.4 down to 60. And inflation expectations for the 1 year ahead period are expected to fall from 4.7% to 4.5%. Best case scenario, you get inflation expectations that come down, but current conditions, consumer expectations that hold steady. You don't want to see these things skyrocket and get so much better that, we have a data blackout that would suggest that the economy is doing great. We don't need as many Fed rate cuts. You don't want that kind of a situation. but you really don't want to see these numbers come down all too much either. Remember, corrections are caused by recession fears. Bear markets are typically caused by recessions, or once you have a high probability of a recession, like Trump's tariffs on China, right? You got a 20% drawdown. There was a high chance of a recession at that point, right? 2022, you had a 20% plus drawdown because there was a high chance of a recession. You get the idea. So tomorrow we are going to get some economic data. What will also be interesting is we get the unemployment rate out of Canada and the employment change. So America and Canada tend to have very similar numbers. So if Canada comes out with some really bad numbers tomorrow, Wall Street might say, oh crap, if Canada is having really bad numbers, maybe that means the US is having really bad numbers, or vice versa. If they come out with good numbers, that might be a sign that we would have otherwise seen good numbers last Friday when we were supposed to get the jobs report. But honestly, once the government shutdown does come to an end, I think that in and of itself is going to be a positive to get the uncertainty gone. So it's like, again, there's some positives, some negatives right now because the government shut down. But once it ends, I do think that will be seen as a positive for markets, especially if the economic data is not too hot, not too cold, just kind of in line with most people's expectations. They're going to say, okay, business as usual. We're back to getting economic data. We're still looking at 2 Fed rate cuts this year. AI stocks, boom. Tesla booms. Now, before we go ahead and wrap this video up, take a listen to what Tom Lee just said on CNBC. This video is titled, Tom Lee, S&P can still get to at least 7,000 this year.
It does take us to our talk of the tape. The rallies road ahead. I mentioned that call from Tom Lee. He does join us now. He's a CNBC contributor. It's good to have you back. Welcome.
Great to see you, Scott.
So what do you make of just how the market's trading today? We've had a nice run. It's given a little bit back. Maybe some concerns are out there about the strength of the economy, the labor market, some other stuff. What do you see?
Well, I think markets are trying to balance a few things because we are navigating a little blind because of the government shutdown. But we also know that the real powerful driver of the equity market and the economy has been AI, which is not affected by this slowdown. So I think stocks are in this sort of zigzag pattern, but given we're in that seasonal period from October to year end, and we think the S&P can get to at least 7,000, it has been, and we've seen it this week. These pullbacks get bought, so we could be weak today, and I think we could rally tomorrow. And in general, I'd still be bullish into year end.
Are we whistling past the graveyard, Tom, on anything that could be concerning to you? I see a story right in front of me from Axios mentioning a Moody's analysis. 22 states are in recession or close to it. There was that Carlisle independent survey the other day showing the labor market is much worse than expected. Gold's been going up. Some suggest that's de-risking from the U.S. AI bubble. You mentioned the shutdown. Are we complacent towards any significant risks that we might be missing?
Well, I do think markets are less skeptical than they were in April and even in August and September, and we can see this in both positioning and AAII. So I think it is fair to say that the markets have priced in more good news. So like the things you flagged can be worrisome. But what I'd point out is that I think the AI story is actually strengthening, Scott. From our conversations with both companies and investors, it actually seems like the payback for AI, whether it's applications or services or companies' actual ROI, actually has improved in the last quarter or so. So I think that's what's helping actually create demand for spending. So I think we may be underestimating the sort of profit creation coming from AI, and I think that's why there's still legs to that story. But you're right. On balance, the data is mixed, and we don't really know because we don't have government data.
Yeah. You gave our producers this line that you still think it's the, quote, most hated rally. And I've asked you about this every time you've been on with me. I feel like now that's a little bit far-fetched to suggest that this is still the most hated rally. I don't find anybody who comes on, certainly not on the programs that I do, that is overly negative about anything. The prevailing view, even from those who were cautious before, are like the stock market's going higher. Now, it may end poorly way down the road, but it's going higher. So how can you suggest that it's still so hated?
Well, there's this thing where people can make like a backhanded compliment. Like they might say something positive about the market, but they're really bearish. Because when I hear people say, oh, well, this reminds me of 1999, or, they're ringing the bell on the top of AI stocks, they are maybe acknowledging that the market is strong, but then they're trying to mark the end of that rally. And I think, for me, who was an analyst in the 90s, people forget that Cisco in September 98 was at almost a 60 PE when the Fed made its first cut in 9 months, and then its PE went to 200. NVIDIA is that stock today, and it's trading at around 27 times forward earnings. I mean, it's got a lower PE than Walmart and Costco, which are like 35 to almost 50 times. So I just think a lot of good news has been accepted by markets, but I don't think it's necessarily priced into markets.
So yeah, let me know your thoughts on that down below in the comment section. What are your thoughts around Tesla stock as well? I personally think, again, we are one robotaxi announcement away from new all-time highs that could come at any time. The robotaxi, it's been like there hasn't been a lot of news recently, so could be coming soon. Let me know your thoughts on all of this down below in the comment section. Hit the like button as well as subscribe to the channel and check that link out down below if you want to come join the trading group. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one.